Now, stay tuned to Vinyl Community Podcasts.
All right, buddies.
Boy. Well, my first problem already, I've noticed something right now.
Uh-oh.
It's like this red, it's not working for me.
The red is not working for you. Why can't
It seems like we're in a, hey, everyone, there's a tornado heading. Everyone run to your shelters.
Oh, my
It's
gosh.
like a breaking news.
A banner. Oh, yeah. Well, I apologize. This is my branding for my small channel, so let me have this, please. Well, buddies, I am joined by a very interesting guest, especially in light of current events. Somebody actually, to be honest with you, somebody I've been wanting to talk to for a minute, and somebody.
Well, wait, what current events?
Maybe we'll get into that, guest, before I introduce you. This is a concert buddy. This is part of my series, Mind of the Record Collector, and I'm joined by the one, the only, the Waxed. How you doing today, sir?
I was okay until you filled me in on some information before the stream started.
Oh, no. Nothing like that. No. But anyway, well, I appreciate you joining me. We've been, just for a little background, we communicate outside of our YouTube realms a little bit, and you've been helpful with the podcast. You have full transparency, put a couple of your pieces of content on your channel up on the podcast. So you've been helpful there. So I want to publicly appreciate you and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But that said, let's just kind of get into it, because obviously that's how I got to know you, was even before the morning live stream, and we'll get into that, was you had your own YouTube channel. And I think you started maybe a year before me, 2021. Does that sound right?
Feels like 80 years, but probably right. I think I'm into my third year of doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of motivated you to do that? Because, not to jump ahead, but I know your record collecting you've only been really getting after it maybe the last 3 to 5 years. What kind of brought you to YouTube?
Yeah, I think there's I think people feel that this record collecting thing is who you are musically in collecting. And that's so not true. Because if you were, this is just my general sense, if you were brought up middle class and lived a middle class lifestyle, the thing that collects us is pop culture. Sure. So music has got to been most people's part of their life. So yes, I remember being a little kid in the 70s, turning on the radio, listening to songs. That kind of is the pinpoint of my memories, is tied to a song.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's who I've been my whole life. I had older brothers who were musicians. They turned me on to music. It just so happened, I think the first thing I ever bought musically was an album. But when I was seriously collecting, it was cassettes, and then went into CDs. So I have a shitload of CDs, tons. And as I think Gen Xers are very tied to technology. And when the opportunity came to kind of rip everything and move to digital formats, that's what I did too. So I have a vast collection of all sorts of music. And so I've always been collecting and listening to music. I mean, that's what's funny about this, is that the people view you by what you show on your channel and stuff. And I'd say over the last 15 years, I would buy a record occasionally. I like I kind of got into Record Store Day, but without being a serious vinyl collector, so I would buy some things that interest me. Yeah.
So you had a turntable this whole time, or are you somebody who only really got hard into it the last 5 to 10 years?
My setup was it wasn't Crosley.
No, sure.
But I had a turntable and speakers and an amp, and I would play things that I had picked up through the last 15 years of buying a record occasionally. But like most people, when the pandemic got going, and one of my really good friends who I talk about a lot owns a record label. So, we would have conversations and stuff like that. So, the pandemic got me more geared to one aspect of music, one genre.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
That's jazz. when you live in LA, you drive a lot. So I listen to a lot of music in my car. Obviously, I'm not listening to vinyl. But when I'm home, I live in a apartment surrounded by lots of people. I find it's the experience of listening to vinyl is in the genre of jazz is the most enjoyable to me. So that's as far as listening to music and collecting jazz. There's a side, I think, another aspect of it, and interrupt me if I keep yammering on.
No, feel free. Good.
There's another aspect to collecting vinyl that I probably enjoy more than listening to it. And that's going out and finding it.
The actual hunt, looking for it, the surprises, and yeah.
I don't think a lot of people talk about this. And we'll get into other aspects of what I believe like the VC is and
of course
what people expect people to be. But there's one other aspect that people don't talk about it, and that's the hunt and identifying and finding. Because I've had other hobbies, this has kind of replaced, but the underlying fact of it being a hobby is very similar to other hobbies that have that aspect to it. Whether you collect anything, comic books or
sports cards, yep,
sports cards. Because I have friends that collect like action figures, and it's very similar. In fact, there's one aspect to collecting comic books and baseball cards and action figures that collecting vinyl does not have, and that's like these appraisal companies that you send to them and they grade.
But that's changing. I mean, literally, there's companies now coming up that are doing what's called slabbing, where it's literally they grade it third party and then they give it a barcode and then you never touch it again.
Yeah, right. But that aspect is so much more exciting to me than listening to music, because I'll put the music on, listen to it while I do other things. Contrary to popular belief, I have a full-time job. You see me on a lot of streams, but that's like the lamest kind of insult people could throw at me.
Sure.
So while I'm doing the other things I do, it's enjoyable to put the music in, listen to the music and enjoy the music. But the act of identifying a record, what it is, where it came from, the history of it is so much more enjoyable to me.
And do you feel that, like, talking about the hunt, we'll kind of talk about that since it's right in front of us, because I'm sure when you started going out looking for records at the places we all do, thrift stores, antiques, estate sales, all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
You probably didn't know from Jump Street that about the matrix information and that the variants and all that stuff. Did YouTube help accelerate that learning curve for you?
Of course. I mean, but when you start getting involved, and I sell, but I don't make tons of money doing it. I sell to kind of help
supplement that. Yeah, of course. We all
support this hobby. So you learn very quickly that identifying the record is an important thing.
Paramount, yes.
Yeah, so that it didn't take that long. In fact, I do want to get into all the hatred and bitterness I have towards people. Will we be able to talk about that?
There's always room for hatred and bitterness talk, yes.
Okay, because my passive aggressiveness is very strong this morning.
Understood.
Okay, so I'll give you a good story. And this sort of happened around the beginning, where I learned very quickly and actually before I even got into making YouTube channels, I watched VC channels and stuff. So I knew stuff before I even started a channel. So I knew, thrift stores would be a good place to kind of build up your collection affordably.
Yes.
And I live in Los Angeles. So in my mind, there are over 22 million people within a 90-mile circumference around LA.
Right.
So there's a lot of shit.
It's arguably, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but probably one of the most fertile record collecting grounds, just because of the amount of people and the amount of stores and amount of opportunity. But anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't say fertile, so don't put that word in my mouth.
Came in my mouth, yes.
No, but look, I've gone to butt scratch nowhere and found records.
Of course.
So I'm not buying in. I will buy in the opportunity to find records with not a lot of effort exists when there's more people. But if you know what you're doing, again, you'll find stuff because I've been nowhere and found records. It's like my saying is I have a horseshoe up my butt for finding records. It's factually proven if you watch my channel and see the scores. I just had a great score last a video. So,
but to that point, the one thing that I do admire about how you go about it is, I mean, you hit it hard. Like you're out cracking the pavement. I mean, maybe not as much as lately. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but I do know. I mean, you're literally grinding, and that's part of finding is opportunity. You've got to create the opportunity to find it.
Okay, you have a family and the obligations of a family, so your free time. When I have free time, it's spent looking for records. So, I mean, it's just I have the free time that I dedicate towards doing that.
Sure, that's fair.
So the story that I wanted to tell you is I went to a local thrift store near me and found a stack of sealed records, and they seemed to have been promo records.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew enough that the benefit of me being successful at this stems from the ability to connect online while you're finding these records. I found a bunch. They were worth nothing and had no musical interest, but there was one that I could not find by looking it up. And it was $3. So I go, I'm just going to buy this record. And as I was venturing home, I was looking it up, and all I could find was the CD version of this record that someone was selling for $150 on eBay.
Oh, okay.
Which perked my interest. And also, I'll tell you this. I do buy CDs, and I've sold CDs for a lot of money. So there is this hunt thing in finding stuff. Don't pass CDs by.
Sure.
There are CDs that are worth it. Okay. So this record I'm talking about is the Wood Brothers. I think they're like all country, and it was on the name.
Yeah, sure.
It was on Blue Note, I believe. And the record was sealed. It had a CD in it. I eventually found a Reddit thread where the person goes, I've been looking for this record for years, and there's like none on Discogs. And I don't remember if I knew what Discogs was, or through reading this Reddit thread, it kind of
unearthed it. Sure.
It pushed me into really utilizing Discogs. And I found this record, and it was worth a lot of money. So I set up a Discogs account and put it up on Discogs. And that next morning, I sold it to some dude in Germany. So that's what started me selling records. That one experience of finding this Wood Brothers record. So, yeah, that kind of that opened it up, and I started. And I didn't even have a way of cleaning records. This was sealed. No, so it just kind of pushed me through the door of getting into this aspect of collecting vinyl.
Yeah, and I think, this is my commentary too, is that, there's a lot of, not a lot, but it's probably the echo chamber of like the auctions, and maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's always been part of this, at least since I've been collecting over 10 years, of you would find something, maybe you won it, maybe you didn't, but flipping it or selling it or whatever you want to call it was a way, and used to be a socially accepted way to subsidize collecting more expensive records. You know what I mean? So something has changed along the lines of record collectors have been doing this for decades.
Well, wait. Here's the funny thing. How is it not socially accepted now when a majority of the people that collect records buy records from people that get the records that way?
Well, I think it's that, like I said, the echo chamber. It's like Twitter. It's like any of these things. You have the loudest 1% makes it seem like there's this dissonant to it. But the reality is I'm telling on myself.
When you re-edit this video into it making sense. Okay, this is all that is an easily grasped thing to throw at someone when you just don't like them. Okay? So my persona online, which people believe is 100% me, and I think you can attest that it's not 100% me because we communicate privately. Right. So, and it's so hard to grasp that that's who I am.
So, but to that end, though, so this is a question that I've heard other people kind of throw: is why is there a difference of an online persona versus like the side of you and talking about our private conversations?
Okay, because here I like to think that the way I act is we're all fucked up. Don't get me wrong. Life has fucked all of us up.
Okay.
So we are the embodiment of our life experiences, and no one is immune to anger in how they choose to release it from their system. But here's what's funny, because I'm not very prolific right now. I'm posting videos on my channel, and by no means am I patting myself on the back. But I posted a video last weekend. It's almost at 1,000 views. And I'm not prolific on doing videos. Either I connect with a majority of the people and they get the humor that I'm putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe through my life, I've had the same sense of humor. And people have understood it's a sense of humor, right?
Okay.
So it's backed up by the response I get. Because a handful of people decide that my sense of humor is who I am and unacceptable, that's who I am. Because it really is, this echo chamber you talk about is a handful of people. It's not a majority of the people. Because, and if it really was a majority of the people, they would have a lot more people supporting what they're doing or coming to their defense that I'm this person. So we can push that aside, because it's just me and you talking. Sure. I'm not here to perform. You want to find out more about me. I'm not here to crank up my sense of humor, because that's really what it is. Okay. And if you don't think it is, more power to you. Go on with your life thinking that when I'm on Rachel's stream doing my participating, that's who I am. Congrats to you. You win. You win life.
Well, speaking of the stream, I was kind of a late adapter. I think I only started watching maybe early last year. How did you get wind of that stream? Because obviously, and not to belabor the point, but
there's documented proof of that. The documented proof is this. One of the first people I befriended, and we can get into how I started doing my channel, but one of the first people that reached out to me and we started connecting was Greg from the Vinyl Rundown.
Okay.
You know Greg?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, come up. We'll do a video together. And we started doing videos together. And he introduced me to Rachel, I think, sort of. That's the way I remember it. So, and honestly, now it's such an ongoing thing every day.
Right, it's a regular part of
Exactly. But Rachel brought me up initially, and she got it. She's the one thing you can say about her, and again, you could have negative comments about her, is she got my sense of humor right away. I think that's why she got and we have private conversations. She gets when I'm just being stupid and funny, or at least what I think is funny. Mm-hmm. It's all relative. People don't have to think what I'm saying is funny.
Sure.
But she got it right away. So Greg, you can blame Greg. Go blame Greg, everyone.
Greg created the monster. No, so back to, let's just kind of go back to that about how you started on YouTube, because for me, where I found you was through my white whale, and hopefully I'm going to talk to him here shortly, Bob Bradley's channel, because I think you guys had connected, and he had, I guess, you recommended something to him. That was the first time I heard your name, Rob the Waxed. And so then that made me kind of find your channel. And this is obviously pre-Rachel.
Let's talk about another guy who you wouldn't believe who gets that it's a sense of humor, and just that. He was him right away. So I would message him, hey, I saw this, that. And actually, when I started seeing a surge, and like I would go, how am I getting this many subs? It's not my videos. He gave me a shout out. And Melinda Murphy gave me shout outs. So, yeah.
Makes sense. So you start making the YouTube videos. You start finding an audience.
Well, so to get into it,
Yeah.
I think this is how most people start YouTube videos. It's like their friends say to them, and start shaking your head yes and smiling. There are people around them go, "You're funny. You're just as good as that guy. You could do that." But
Accurate. It's an accurate statement.
but not everyone can do it. It's
Also an
hard.
accurate
It's not
statement.
easy.
Yes.
But I always thought I was good at communicating professionally, and just that's who I was. And I wanted something to talk about because I could talk about a handful of things. I know a lot. I know a little bit about a lot of things. If you watch my video, I wax poet. I'm like whatever the character from Cheers. So I could talk. I could get into a lot of things, but that's again when I started getting into the vinyl. And the first person that helped me was JC from the Flip Side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I messaged him. I'm interested in doing this. Will you help me? Dude is the nicest dude in the world.
For
I
sure.
said, sure. Come up with an idea for a video and I'll shoot it with you. So I came up with you can go on my channel and watch that lame ass video. Because if you think I suck now, go back and see how much I sucked back then.
Yeah, but all the early videos are terrible. I think that everyone agrees that those are like Bambi legs. They're necessary to get you where you want to go.
Yeah, they're bad. But he did one with me, to his credit, and that started it. So you can blame him too.
Man, I got a laundry list. We're gonna by the end of this, I'm gonna shake out the scroll. These are the guys who created the monster.
Yeah,
is the wax. Well, I guess that belies the point, and we can talk about the live streams here in a second. But I mean, do you enjoy the YouTube experience? Because, like you said, you're not doing as many videos as maybe you were a year ago, etc.
No, but that's relative. Because I'm on Rachel's stream like almost every morning.
Well, that's kind of why I bring it up because there is content with you on it, but it's not like the dedicated like show and tells and that sort of thing.
But here's the funny thing, Chance. Think about this. Since I'm so hated, when there's a live stream, and I come up in Peanut Gallery and make comments, generally the person will put me up on screen. So, the reinforcement of positiveness towards me is so much greater than the negative. You know what I mean? So generally, I'm on with the Jazz Bums. I was trying to do one live stream a week.
Right, like on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, I still sort of do it, but I'm so busy and exhausted.
Hang on, is there a secret YouTube you're telling us about? You're doing your streams on Tuesdays, but no one is a secret YouTube, like YouTube Dark?
No, it's just for myself. I picked up one of those red laser pointers, and I so wanted to use it. So I watched these streams, play them back ad nauseum, and I just point out things that I feel I can work on.
Like the football coach. Okay, I can appreciate that. That's funny.
Sort of.
So how would you define or how would you explain? He's obviously talking about Rachel in the morning show, how you got on there. You go every day. Pretty much. I think that there may be less than a handful of times you sit out because you travel and you do family stuff, I've noticed.
Right, and like last week, there was something I did, so I just left early. I mean,
right, you went to the record show we were talking about earlier, but I mean, it takes a lot of commitment, and plus you're on the West Coast, so you're getting up early. So there must be a reward, or you enjoy doing it, right?
Well, okay, so I come on around 7 and leave at 9. In those hours, what are you really doing? Are you watching TV? Are you reading? I mean, it's a disposable. It's sort of a disposable time frame for me.
Okay.
In life, anyway, because if I teach in person, I'm doing it in the evenings. I can prepare and do all the other stuff for my job remotely. So if I'm getting to work after 9 o'clock, I mean, it's just I think a finite period of time. That's what else would I be doing instead of giving the gift of laughter to the world?
Right. Robin Williams 2.0. I understand. Right. Is it safe to say you enjoy the live stream format more than the organized video format?
Okay. Here's my sense of things. I'm better in a live stream situation.
Okay.
it's improved my success. And let's understand,
Relative, but yes.
relative, our success in the VC is not YouTube success.
Sure.
All right. But my success at doing this, and I think I'm successful at doing this. And wait till you see your comments and after they hear that. So. My success at doing this is me being on a live stream, is me reacting to other people. That being said, I don't mind doing and you can tell, I don't like preparing. I like going off the top of my head. I feel if I make mistakes, it's good because it creates people reacting and commenting on your videos. They'll correct you. People love to correct you. So that's look, I'm not a young person. My mind is not what it used to be. And I say wrong things. I'm a human being.
We all do. That's right.
Believe it or not, and I would love people to hear it here first. I'm not always right. I'm actually wrong a lot.
Clip that off. This is going to be this is a YouTube short.
That's another thing that I have a problem with reacting when I'm wrong. It's not. No. It's funnier in a live stream if you think that I have a problem with it. I think. Okay. So in that sense, I like to go off the top of my head. But I'm good on my feet. If you watch my prepared videos, it's just me speaking off the top of my head. And I have a good internal clock. I know when I've gone 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I like doing those. But here's the problem for me. How many middle-aged guys in a baseball cap and a goatee, and you don't have glasses yet, do you need to see on videos? It just seems funny to me that unless we're just making ourselves really different, and although I like showing the records I have or I've accrued,
mm-hmm. It's
the same as everyone else's content. There's only so much of it you can watch, right?
Sure. Agree.
One
thing that point, though, I wanted to ask you about, because you brought this up, and something that I really kind of resonated with is you talk about what you do on the streams, you get reactions all over the place. The two-dimensionality, can you kind of talk about that? Because, you make a good point about this is how we are on these shows. It's maybe not 100% exactly who you are outside of these shows. And then people respond to it in a way because they don't really know these other sides. Like, can you speak more about because this is the first time I heard it was you were talking about the two-dimensionality of these exchanges.
Well, I mean, I get it because I deal with people in my life. Professionally for 30 years, the job I did, that's all I did. Sure. So I understand that people don't know people and this interaction's all they got. But the base emotion that people have is the switch that is turned is towards the negative. They want to be angry towards you. It's funny, and I don't want to get deep into the negativeness of this because people do it better than I do. Chance is I don't go to social media platforms to complain about people. I don't go. I've always been the person that if I have issues with you, I've said behind your back, I've told you to your face. So I think the times where I might veer towards seriousness is calling people out on bullshit. Not political bullshit, not your opinion on things. Again, I feel like when I'm doing it on maybe Rachel's stream, I'm trying to be humorous, make light of it, because here's the deal. It's your personal opinion.
Sure.
It's not mine. You have a right to it. But when it's kind of framed in a way to put the other person down, I'm trying to make light of it when I'm doing it. I know this seems odd, right? But there are times where people, I believe, have crossed the line.
Of course.
And it's well documented who I have those feelings towards. So just because you don't think people see you acting that way, and then it's revealed you are, I'll point that out because I'm up here doing, whatever I'm doing. And now I am the king of meanness and hatefulness and bashing. But the reason, it just seems odd to me, but your behavior is fine. But I'm not, I mean, that's all I'll kind of go to that, because if I keep talking more about it, it'll just sound like I'm just as angry as everyone else. And I'm not. When I go out in my life, I'm enjoying my life. You know what I mean?
You're able to disconnect this YouTube thing, vinyl community thing, from real world Rob.
The people that actively hate me and create content about hating me is not what I think about when I go enjoy my day. I've talked about it here and there, that I had a major health scare about 5 years ago, and I'm not. Life is too short. Live every minute that you can. It didn't instill that in me, because I understand life is too short, and you should live every minute you can. And like everyone else, I've had people I love pass away. Right. I get it. I understand it. But it's kind of lead me towards just enjoy the things you enjoy.
That makes sense.
That's the place you should go to.
Fair. Yeah.
And not and I came from big worriers. I that's the one thing I don't want in my life. I don't worry. I try not to worry. I deal with what today has given me, and then I go to tomorrow. I try not to be a big worrier. So worrying about people bashing me is not my thing. The people that hate me seem to be more filled with hating me than I am worrying about them hating me or even hating them. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
So my humor is kind of a way to, I believe, and please understand this, me being funny about it is kind of saying, you're hating me. That's what you're wasting your time with. So I'll go down a path of kind of turning up what people hate about me to kind of.
You meet it head on. You meet it head on instead of you try to diffuse it with humor. Am I picking up?
Well, I mean, come on. People have made fun of me for certain things, and I'd like to think I took ownership of it. Like one of our best friends, someone's make fun of my chin. So remember when I made that Chin magazine where I'm on the cover?
Yes, I do. Yes.
It's I think here's maybe a little tip to people. Take what your haters are using at you and make it your own. That's how the Boomer Scalper started. You know the story of the Boomer Scalper.
Yeah. But for those who don't, why don't you give us the high cliff notes? Because it goes into how you were collecting records, still do. You were in a Facebook group, right? I'll let you finish it.
Yeah. So I took ownership of the Boomer Scalper. I was out hunting for records like normally do, and I found a sealed copy of a record that, through the means I use, I could not identify. It looked like a video game soundtrack, but I didn't know. So I posted on Instagram this picture. Does anyone know what this is? One person said, "Hey," and it's Nick Rudeau, who's a great guy, someone who's unfairly bashed by the haters. So he suggested, I'm part of this Facebook group.
Slippery slope, because an invitation to Facebook group should go sideways.
Just the minutia of what groups exist.
Agreed. Yes.
Video game soundtrack vinyl collectors. Yes. So I joined the group, and it got accepted, and made a post. Does anyone know what this is? From the get-go, all those nerds, millennial nerds, the millennials, started bashing me. And then they called me the Boomer Scalper, trying to steal money from them, claiming I faked this record and all this stuff. And then the private messages came after me. And I made a comment that didn't go over well with the guy. and he went to the head of the group and got me removed. This guy, and in the private comments, this guy was so hateful. I deleted them. And then when the person tried to kick me out of the group, I go, well, this person will show me the proof. Well, I deleted the messages. I blocked them. So I had this record. And then through searching, I was able to determine that it was the soundtrack of Call of Duty, Cold War. And it was never, I think it was created as a promo, maybe
like a giveaway or something. Yeah.
So what I did is I entered it into Discogs. I don't like opening seal records if I don't have to. That's one thing they asked me to do. And I said no. And then, but what had happened, the guy who created the game on Twitter posted pictures of the inner sleeve with all the credits. So I was able to use those to post the album. These morons in the group found my chant. So, what I did is created a Boomer. You can go watch.
You created the character. You made some videos. So just leaning into the situation.
They found the video, didn't like it. My mole in the group was sending me screenshots of comments and pictures. They didn't like that, which was the spite is the best thing for creativity.
Sure.
Then I posted it on, and just out of pure spite, I listed it at $1,000. And so these morons went and took screenshots from my video and added them as pictures of the vinyl, started in the comment section bashing me,
of course,
in the comments of Discogs. Then one of them challenged my listing to Discogs as a fake record.
Oh, come on.
So I fought it. I won. Those morons got kicked off of Discogs, which I imagine has to be one of the hardest things to do. And
that's true.
They took my pictures from my video off, and it was listed for $1,000. Out of spite, I went on to list it on eBay at the same price.
Sure.
Just so you know, I paid $12 for this sealed record.
Can I ask what you ended up selling it for?
So I put best offer on both places. So please understand, I did put $1,000.
Right.
I also put best offer. And actually people, and some of those morons were off asking best offer on Discogs, like $50, $40.
Sure.
And out of spite, I'm not selling it for that. Yeah, I don't need the money. Someone offered me $700 on eBay.
Done.
It's yours. May God be with you. You know what? One of the first things this dude did? He went on that video game group on Facebook.
Oh, and said, "Look what I got." Oh.
Yes. And then someone sent me the screenshots. Like they put Clint Eastwood memes up about me and
get off my lawn, that kind of stuff.
Boomer Scalper. So, but getting back to it, that's how the Boomer Scalper started, because I took ownership of haters. I took it from them. That's how a lot of the humor I have, like on the Boomer Scalper videos, come from taking ownership of what the haters are throwing at me, so they can't use it against me.
It's an interesting take. Yeah, I like it.
I mean, look. Your hate is not going to end me. It's been going on for over 2 years. I'm still here. And life's too short. I think it's hysterical that I piss people off. It's just funny to me. And some of the biggest people I piss off, and it's hysterical to me that their dirty laundry is not out of view of other people. Worse than anything, I've literally done nothing. I have no skeletons in my closet. And people, and here's what's funny. Some people have cyber stalked me, you know, and they found, and they've tried to come after me with, haha, you did this. Yeah, I did that. It's on the internet. Like I produced a short film with real movie stars in it. Haha, your stupid short film. Well, yeah, I did that. It's documented. It's on the internet.
Surprise.
Yeah, well, we were in the Santa Barbara Film Festival. I mean, it's like, I have a life and experiences. So if we're touching on, I'm the worst thing since sliced bread, or the best thing, or the what people are.
Depends on the day and depends on the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the Boomer. That's how the Boomer Scalper started. Makes for a great story.
No,
That's
I enjoy it. Yeah.
That's what getting into all this has done. That my take on things has allowed me to take this experience of having a YouTube channel and meeting people and kind of turn it into fodder and more, cool things like that. Because
Well, side note, I mean, you actually, not that if people haven't checked Rob's contribution out to the Record Collector News, great publication.
Yeah.
You should just subscribe to it. I mean, you are in character as the Boomer Scalper, and I'm assuming you write all those, right? You write those responses in the prose of the Boomer Scalper. Am I off? Wait, correct me.
No, I write all of them.
I know.
I mean, who would?
There's a ghost Boomer Scalper.
Yeah. No, like the new one, and the new one is about the whole desert island disc thing.
Sure.
Which I'm not a big list guy, and definitely if you're trapped on a desert island, first of all, listening to music is
the last thing I'd be doing. Yes.
And the ability to listen to music is not even practically going to happen. So,
right.
Yes.
So going back to the actual record collecting piece, are you like a lot of us? Do you have like I'm gonna use air quotation marks, a grail list, and what does that look like?
Okay, there are records that I would like to get, but I find having a grail is kind of a shackle.
It's a limiting device.
It limits you hugely because it blinds you off to seeing what you're going to miss. How many videos have you seen where someone's flipping through a record store and you go, "Fuck, you just passed that record"?
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, and I like to think I'm never that guy. And you'll see sometimes I'll find records that are not jazz, that are sought after records, because I pay attention. Like I just found a second Buckingham Nicks. If I was very focused on Grail records, like if you watch my new video, I found 2 records that they're not going to be able to put out analog versions.
Right, one of ones. Yeah. So yep.
Right. I mean, although you could say they were on my Grail list, they weren't. But because I pay attention to when people are talking about things, it's logged away in my brain, and I think having a Grail list is limiting. There are certain records when I found Ramones Mania.
Sure.
That's a record I want. I had the CD. I'm okay with having a best of comp of them. Same with I would like more Cure records. I do have Cure records, but having the Standing on the Beach, that's being a Gen Xer, we were kind of very inundated with best of comps,
right,
as being the kind of source for our enjoyment of a certain band. So
I never got beyond surface level, or maybe just a couple of the signature albums. You're talking like deep cuts and all that kind of stuff.
I have to think about deep cut bands that I like that are, not jazz, but like since I grew up with brothers who are very classic rock based, I think I've had my fill of all that stuff. Although I have a Yes album here and there, a Rush album here and there. I have most of the Beatles stuff. People wouldn't think that. I would love to have more Rolling Stones, but I kind of believe I've not come across a Rolling Stones album that sounds good. That's maybe one thing that getting into vinyl collecting has done. It's kind of maybe remotely made me a snob about how things sound, and those Rolling Stone records generally do not sound very good. The CDs, the digital versions I have of them sound so much better, Do
you feel that there's like different stages of like record collecting or collecting anything, right? Like first is like learning, immersing, and you're always learning. I want to make clear you're not
we're always. I don't know it. That's another thing. I've said it. I don't know everything. I'm 2 or 3 years into this serious collecting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning every single day, every single second. So when I say stuff and it's taken like it's
gospel, right?
It's my truth. You're silly. People are silly.
Well, did you go through like the early stages? I guess is kind of where I was going. Is when you first kind of get into it, and you can find like cheap records readily available, and you're just getting titles that now
I
3 years in you would pass on.
I call it the Dan Fogelberg stage.
That's fair.
You've mistakenly bought a Dan Fogelberg record thinking it was something. Nothing against Dan Fogelberg, but no, we all learn. I'm still have to purge records that I shouldn't have.
Right. Okay.
No, we did. Look, we all get tricked by our stupidity.
The excitement kind of takes hold of us. Well, to that end, though, and maybe I already know the answer because you just did a video on it. When was the last time you had like one of those holy shit moments where you're flipping and you're like, "Is this what I think it is? Is it those two jazz records?"
I have it. I have it all the time. I had it the other day. I'm going out today, and I will have it today. That's what the excitement. This is the dangerous slope. Thank God, because if I were you, Chance, my child's college funds would be gone. but I don't have a child.
Right.
So, no, it happens every day. I can show you, now everything's so buried, but I can pull out records that I found the other day. This Hampton Hawes record, OG, for $15. That's a record. Go, wow, I found this. That's what I always believe, to run out and to grab something and seriously look for it makes the moments where you just find something less impactful.
Well, some would say buying online kind of has the same effect, right? Because you're taking out the chase and you're just going right to the source. You don't agree with that?
No. I love taking advantage of people's, what do you call? I don't want to say they're stupid.
Naivete?
No, they're on naivety, but they just post stuff. So actually virtually looking for records and knowing where to go that are not where everyone else goes and finding something. And then, believe it or not, people, you're allowed to ask questions. People can say no to you, but you at least ask the question. So Discogs is littered with people mislabeling and mislisting.
Yes.
eBay's got a lot of if you know certain things to look for and look at, which I'm learning still, you can score big time. And techniques you can do. I have techniques, and if you buy my video for $39.99, seriously, so no, if you're stuck at home, let one thing, take a gummy and get on your iPad and start looking.
Well, education is the greatest tool, though, right? Like, because like you're talking about online, I'll look at pictures. I'll actually look at UPC codes because, one, like you said, there's so many people who don't know what they have in both sense of the words. They think it's this, and then they send it to you, and it was that, and it's not what you're looking for. Conversely, like I'm thinking of a John Mayer record I found that was a first pressing, and they were selling it for $20. Well, first pressing doesn't normally go for $20, but I did my research, as I'm sure you do, knowing that that was the right piece. And I kind of,
I have to thank you for mentioning John Mayer, because it'll make a lot of the shit I've said for the last 40 minutes seem okay.
I'm all about jumping on those grenades, Rob. That's what I'm here for.
No. I mean, it's an opportunity to learn more about stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And has that the education process been another part that you've really enjoyed, like learning? Because like you said, you've really only been really head down and really focused on this the last 3+ years.
Again, I'll say this again. They're two separate things. The enjoyment of collecting and listening to vinyl is your musical outlet is such a different thing than going out and finding and identifying records. To me, they're two different things, because how many people we know that don't do that?
That's true. It's one or the other. Yeah.
They buy the music that they want. So it's definitely, to me, the most interesting and better part of it. And to name drop, it's like Patrick P.B. Thal, who was the vinyl archivist. He's a guy who I kind of learned a lot from.
For sure. Absolutely.
Because that is what a lot of what he's about. So And there are other people too that I learn from everyone. But I like to think people are starting to learn from me.
Well, that's a great segue, because I was going to ask you what kind of role do you think you have, and I'm going to throw this term very vanilla, influencer, and I say that because recently you influenced me to purchase something, and I think that you did it under the guise of information share, which I do like what you do.
Extra snuggy adult diapers.
Oh, actually, extra small. I'm a kind of a small guy. Yeah, I'm kind of like Napoleon. No, no, but in all seriousness, you were talking about those jellyfish reissues. I had no idea. I had no idea that was going out there, but because I caught you talking about it, I caught it before they sold out. You know what I mean? So anyway, sideway to say, what do you think your role is in terms of being that conduit to share information?
I think, unfortunately, but it's fine. I think with people that enjoy me and make that separation from a personality to someone's talking seriously about collecting, there's just the people benefited from my experience.
Right.
But I kind of do see myself as a personality, like a two-dimensional, a YouTube personality with a big personality and a loud kind of delivery thing. So that these are two separate things. But like in an area where the jazz bums, where I do act a little stupid, but I'll talk about things that there was a record I mentioned that night on Discogs, 10 copies sold. So that's got to mean something, right?
I would think so. Sure.
Yeah. So.
All right. So last one I got for you, and this one,
right.
this may spin you up. When I say vinyl community, like, is it a community? What do you think? What do you think that means?
I think it just means it's an identifier to a genre of YouTube. It's a community. Community is a weird thing because it means two different things. It's a way of classifying a group of like-minded people subject-wise,
right?
Or it's a tight-knit group of people that support each other. I think we all find ourselves in a bunch of cliques. There are some cross sections of people that truly get along, and as far as have channels support each other in that way. I have made friends through being in this of people I communicate with in what you would identify as a friend-like thing.
Mm-hmm.
What degree of friendship is up to the person to
define, right? Yeah,
define. But it's just a genre that people will go into because not everyone likes everybody. Not in the way I'm talking about hates me, likes what they talk about and stuff. Although it's a very fine line between, what people like. So, but I will say this also, we're fronted by the more popular channels, right? Where people talk about stuff. And that's a different thing altogether. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like to me, the best example is the Jazz Bum set up a Discord server where everyone's free to join and you're free to join. And there are other subjects that people talk about there than jazz. That's a community. People are there to say, that's a cool record. Yeah, I bought that, blah, blah, blah. To me, that's a community. This, I don't think, since it's a one-way type of thing usually. I mean, people leave comments and you can communicate that way. Mm-hmm. But it really is a one-way thing on YouTube. That's kind of not a community, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, waxed, Rob, I think we're running up on time.
Didn't I get my time to now go off on all people?
Listen, you feel free. I'm just trying to be sensitive. I know you've got some estate sales and some hearses to chase, so I just want to be clear.
Well, listen, you chase an ambulance.
Sorry, my bad.
Not a hearse. They're already dead. Things have already been decided.
Too late. Records are.
You got to go to the herd before they're dead and say, where are the records hidden?
We'll use that for the follow-up video. How about that? We'll really get into the science of estate sales. Anyway, well, I appreciate you joining me. I know.
And I really wanted to give my banana bread recipe.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Hopefully it's gluten free.
Hey, and can I give a shout out here?
You can do whatever you want.
Melinda Murphy, peace out to you. You're always the best.
Well, spoiler alert, you'll probably be seeing Melinda in the podcast before too long too. So I'll just say that. I'll
at
throw
least
that
I was here before her.
Rob, appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us here on Vinyl Community Podcast, Mind of the Record Collector.
See ya.
And that was another trip around the turntable. Thanks for listening to Vinyl Community Podcasts.